Hiya, welcome to my kitchen. So video number 2. It is almost Valentine's Day, believe it or not. So today is actually Monday evening. We've just finished supper, and guys, I had the most amazing soup tonight, and I'm actually going to post that tomorrow. It won't be a video, it'll just be an actual post with photos, but you're really going to like this soup. It's keto friendly, and if you like lemon, you're really going to like it. Imagine that. I never thought about lemon in a soup, but it's really good. But tonight, with Valentine's Day coming next week, I wanted to make something for my sweetie. So I got this pan from Amazon. It's shaped like a heart. It's a little springform pan. And so I'm going to make a banana bread, but not just any banana bread. This is a banana bread that's called healthy, no added sugar banana bread. So we are working really hard to cut back on refined sugar. So I was trying to find something I could make for him that would be really tasty, but not be something that he would feel really bad about eating, trying to cut back on the sugar. So I found this recipe. I will post it. It's actually from modernminimalism.com is the website, modernminimalism.com. And it's a healthy, no sugar added banana bread. So I'm going to go through the ingredients real quick with you just so you can kind of see what it is we're using and what you're going to need. And I do have a cameraman tonight, so I'm making this for my sweetie, but he's behind the camera tonight. So I thought maybe we would try this and see how it works. So I'm not doing it all by myself. So if you see movement, it's because I've got a cameraman tonight. See, I'm stepping up in the world. All right, so here are the ingredients. So first you're going to need avocado oil, and it's a 1/4 cup of avocado oil. Next thing you're going to need is 2 large eggs. And I've always been told, you guys tell me in the comments if it's true or not, I'm not sure. I've always been told that if you're baking or making a cake or brownies or something and you're using eggs, that you should let them come to room temperature before you use them. You shouldn't use them straight out of the refrigerator. So I've had these sitting out. One's green and one's brown. Our wonderful neighbor blesses us with eggs every now and then from her chickens. Sometimes some duck eggs too. But anyway, so I've got 2 room temperature eggs there. We've got some vanilla extract, and let's see, the vanilla is going to be 1 teaspoon, so we'll use 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now you guys know, if you've been following my page for a little bit, I'm making my own vanilla. So I have my own vanilla going right now that should be ready in about a year, so patience is a virtue, gotta wait for the vanilla. But this vanilla I actually brought back with me from Mexico last year when we were down there, and it's a really good vanilla. But I'm excited to try the vanilla that I'm making. So let's see, so vanilla is next. And then we have baking powder. We need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and that's gonna give it its leavening, along with the soda, which is just 1/2 teaspoon. Kosher salt is 1/2 teaspoon. And then we have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then along with that, I've already mashed them up. I didn't think you guys would wanna watch me peel bananas and mash them up. So I've already mashed my bananas up. I had about 5 bananas that were really getting pretty ripe, and I was trying to figure out what to do with them, and so this all kind of timing worked out perfectly. So I've got the bananas. It called for 2.5 cups, and I am just right at 2.5. Probably scant 2.5, but I think it's gonna work. I think we're gonna be okay. And then of course I've got my springform pan. I did cut a little piece of parchment paper in the shape of a heart to fit in the bottom, and I greased it, put it in there, and then I went ahead and greased the whole pan as well. So got that. Okay, so as always, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Walnuts, you gotta have those at the end. So those are gonna go in at the very end, about 1/2 cup of walnuts. You could also put raisins. Gosh, I think she listed a couple of things on here, but raisins probably is not my favorite. So we're gonna go with the walnuts because I know Dale likes walnuts a lot in his banana bread. So first things first though, as always, I'm gonna wash my hands because I think that's really important if you're gonna be cleaning. If you're gonna be cooking and doing stuff in the kitchen, you always wanna make sure your hands are nice and clean when you get started. So give my hands a good scrub. Hope you guys have had a great day. It was beautiful here in southern Indiana. Absolutely beautiful weather. I went outside, took down some Christmas lights, and the birds were singing. It felt like spring out there. It was just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I hope you guys had great weather where you were. And today is, what is today, the 5th? Is today the 5th? Yeah, the 5th of February. So we're just about 9 days from Valentine's Day. So if you want this pan, I will link it in the post so that you'll have the link to Amazon. I got it on Amazon. I can't remember. I think it might have been around $15 or something like that. But you got plenty of time to get it. You could also do brownies or a little cake or whatever you want, especially just being 2 of us. This seemed like it was kind of the right size for just 2 people. I've never done a banana bread in a heart-shaped pan before, so this is going to be an experiment. But and I've never made it with no sugar. So we're gonna see how it goes, but I'm excited to try. All right, so here we go. So I've got my bowl here. I'm gonna scoop my ingredients over a little bit. All right, can you see okay? Yeah, okay. So I've got my bowl. So the first thing we're gonna do, we've already preheated the oven to 325 Fahrenheit. 325 degrees Fahrenheit is what I've got my oven on. So we're going to mix together now the wet ingredients. So in a large bowl, it says, we're going to combine the bananas. So we're gonna put those in. This little silicone spatula was given to me by a friend of mine, Linda. She's actually my daughter-in-law's mom. And I think about her every time I use it, which is often. I use this little spatula all the time. And I absolutely love it because it's just a nice little silicone, gets every bit out of there. You're not going to leave anything in there with that silicone spatula, I promise. So if you don't have one, I encourage you to find one because they're really cool. We use a lot of stuff actually that has silicone on it for our scratch. What do you call that? What were those pans? You know, the pans that you don't want to scratch because they have like a lining. Non-stick pans. He doesn't want to talk, but he just told me, he mouthed me. My little bird told me non-stick. So yeah, my non-stick pans, we use those silicone a lot for that. Okay, so we've got the bananas in there, and then we're gonna go with the oil. 1/4 cup of oil. I'm using avocado. It just says a flavorless oil. You could probably use any oil, but avocado oil is good for you. So I use avocado oil a lot. Well, actually, it's the only thing I use when I'm cooking or baking, unless it calls for olive oil, and then I'll use olive oil instead. So that's that. And then we are going to do the eggs. So we've got a couple of eggs. We have a little compost bin out here on our property. So I'm throwing my eggshells in there, trying to be a planet, conscious person. So let's throw that in there. All right, so we've got the eggs, and now we're gonna do the vanilla. Now, if you know me, and you don't probably really well, all of you right now, but you will get to know me, but I'll tell you, I don't think there's any way you could use too much vanilla. So I know it calls for a teaspoon, but I always say when you're using vanilla, and I've heard other people say this too, measure with your heart. Just pour it in there. If you feel like it's a little more than a teaspoon, it's not gonna hurt anything, and I'm actually gonna go just a tad more. So that was probably a little more than a teaspoon, but like I said, I love vanilla, and I don't think you can have too much of it. So let's see, vanilla. Okay, so let's see. We've got the bananas, the oil, the eggs, and the vanilla, and now we're going to whisk it all together, it says, until it's well combined. So we're just going to break those up, whisk it around. It smells delicious already, I'll tell you that. I love anything with banana. Banana breads. I like putting cinnamon, which this one calls for it. I like putting cinnamon in my banana bread. My sister has a little bakery down in Tennessee, down in Paris, Tennessee. It's called Sweet Jordan's Bakery, and they make it's called Nana's banana bread, and it is absolutely delicious. And they put a lot of cinnamon in theirs too. It's really good. If you don't follow them on Facebook, you should. Sweet Jordan's Bakery in Paris, Tennessee. They employ special needs adults, and so it's just a really beautiful place, a really neat thing to see. If you guys are ever down that way, you should stop in and see them and tell them I sent you. Okay, so let's see. Okay, all of that is in there. Okay, so we're gonna go with the dry ingredients now. This seems like a pretty straightforward and easy recipe. It's just kind of mix all the wet ingredients and then put your dry ingredients in there. I think I've got that mixed up pretty good. And I'm gonna move from a whisk to a large fork. I like using this rather than a spoon because it seems like the batter and flour and things can sometimes get stuck in that swoop in the spoon. So I like using a really large fork and instead of using a spoon to do this with. All right, so we are going to go to the flour. All right, we need 1 3/4 cups of flour. So 1 3/4 cup flour. So I'm going to take my flour and I just kind of fluff it up in there. It's kind of a way of it's a way of sifting it without actually using a sifter. But if you just kind of do that and then just let it fall into your cup real gently, that kind of sifts it as it goes in. You don't want to pack it in, because if you pack that flour in there, you're actually going to get more flour than you need, and your cake or your banana bread or whatever it is you're making is not going to turn out well. So then you just kind of slide off the top. So this is my 1 cup. I'm going to do that one more time with 3/4 of a cup. And I'm just using unbleached all-purpose flour. I think she says in here you can use wheat flour if you want. So that's an option, but I didn't have wheat flour, and I'm not crazy about the flavor of wheat flour, so I didn't use that. But so there's the flour. And let's see, we're gonna go back to the measurements here. All right, so 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Just 1.5. And then we're going to do 1/2 of the soda. Okay, put those in. And then the salt is 1/2 teaspoon. It says kosher salt. I've been told, which is what this is, that's what I'm using. But I've been told that kosher salt actually is a little different than your regular iodized salt. So if it calls for kosher, I always try to use kosher. If it just calls for regular salt, then I don't think it really matters what you use. Cinnamon, 1 teaspoon. I'm actually going to put just a little bit more. I'm just going to kind of do a generous heaping teaspoon of cinnamon, because we like cinnamon a lot. All right. Then we're just going to mix all that up. Oh, I wish you guys could smell it. That cinnamon with that banana. Oh, it smells really good. And you don't want to overmix this. You know, some people tend to overmix their batters. That will kind of, it just makes it kind of tough. It doesn't keep your cake or your bread nice and fluffy. So I'm just going to give it a good stir, but not overmix it. Just want to make sure, and with using a glass bowl like this, you can see whether or not there's any powder or flour down on the bottom. So you can see there's just a little bit right there. So you just want to make sure you get all that flour mixed in, but you don't want to overdo it. Okay, that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the nuts, and it called for 1/2 cup of nuts, which doesn't sound like very much. I'm going to go 2/3 because we like it nutty. We're a little nutty around here. We like it nutty. So there you go. About 2/3 of a cup. Mix those nuts in. And this is going to pour into that heart-shaped pan. Now she says you can put it in 1 large loaf pan, or you could put it into 3 small, like little mini loaf pans. But we're just going to do the 1 heart pan and cross our fingers and hope that it turns out well. This is, like I said, it's kind of an experiment. You guys get to kind of come along with me and see how it turns out. Now, if we weren't cutting back on sugar, I would make a little cinnamon sugar mixture and sprinkle it on the top of this after I put it in the pan. But since we are cutting back on sugar, I'm not going to do that. So, but you are welcome to. It would be really good probably if you put a little cinnamon and sugar on top. All right. I know it's hard for you guys to see. Since I'm right-handed, I have to have the back of the bowl to you, but all right, so we're just going to make sure that's kind of spread around in there. Looks good. And it says it is going to bake. Where did I see that? I saw it on here. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I'm on the wrong page. 70 to 75 minutes. So I think probably, even though this isn't a loaf pan, it's probably going to be about the same. I'll probably start checking it at about 60 minutes and just see how it looks. If it needs, you know, any more time, I'll just kind of test it and see. But yeah, I'll start checking it at about 60 minutes. These pans always make me nervous because I always think they're going to leak, but they don't. So, all right, here we go, guys. It's going in. Don't look at my oven. Okay, so we are going to pause for a little bit, and when the cake comes out, or the banana bread comes out, I will come back on and let you see it, and I will let you know exactly how long I let it cook for in that pan, so that if you do decide to grab it off of Amazon, you'll know how long to bake it for. And if you have any questions or comments, put them in the post, and I will answer them for you. But we'll be back in just a little bit. Hey guys, we're back. So welcome back to my kitchen. It is done. The banana bread is done, and it looks beautiful. I mean, it just really looks very pretty. Nice job on the camera action. Okay, so right at 60 minutes exactly. I set the timer for 60 minutes, and when I tested it at 60 minutes, it's perfectly done. So I think we're good, and I have already kind of given it a little shake. And of course, I've got that parchment paper in the bottom of it. You can kind of hear that coming up off of there, off the bottom. So we are going to together experiment, and I'm going to see if I can take it out of this pan, this spring form. So let's see. I think. Yep, look at that, lifted right off. Isn't that pretty? What a cute little heart, and what a neat way to do a banana bread. So there you go. So I'm going to see if I can flip it off of this and onto. It's still a little bit hot, so I don't want to burn my hand, but I think it's just going to pop right off of there. Yeah, it is. There we go. So I'm going to peel that piece of parchment paper off. And there we go. Not bad for a first attempt at a banana bread in a heart-shaped pan. I'm pretty happy with that. So we are going, it's still very warm, but is there any better way to eat banana bread than really, really warm? With a little bit of butter, that's the best way. So I'm gonna slice just a little piece off of this. It smells amazing. What do you think, Dale? Does it smell good? He's shaking his head yes. He's still not gonna talk. I'm gonna grab a knife, and we are going to give this a little taste. I told him if he did my filming, I would let him have a piece tonight. He wouldn't have to wait until tomorrow. So we are going to cut a little piece off. He likes the ends of banana bread, so I'm going to cut the tip of it off. Let's see how it looks on the inside. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. Nice and moist. So let's put a little butter on here. My knife is warm, so it's wanting to fall off. I'm gonna put a little butter on here, and since I made it for my sweetie is gonna get the first bite. So I'm gonna hand this to you. There we go. I'll let you know what his face looks like when he takes a bite. I think he likes it. I think it's a winner. I'm gonna take just a little bite here because I want to be able to tell you. Since he's not talking, I want to be able to tell you what I think too. So I'm just gonna take a little bite here with a little bit of butter on it. Because really, like I said, banana bread just really is the best whenever it's warm out of the oven like this and you put some butter on it. That's the best way to eat it. Mmm. Okay. That is really good, you guys. It's really good. So, two things. There's Bella. Two things. First of all, that's a salted butter. That little bit of salt in that butter with that sweet banana. And I think it's plenty sweet enough. I'm not missing the sugar in it at all. I can taste the walnuts. Not too much vanilla. It's the perfect amount of vanilla, so I would encourage you to go a little extra on the vanilla. The only other thing, excuse me, I think I might bake it or would have baked it just a little bit longer. It looks, I don't know though, guys, maybe not. Maybe not. I think it's okay. I think 60 minutes is good. I think if you went any longer, it might be a little bit dry. And you want banana bread to be a little moist. You don't want it a dry banana bread. So, yeah, so I would call that a hit. What do you think, Dale? Scale of 1 to 10. He's giving me a 10. He's saying it's a 10. Shaking his head. Yeah, I think he likes it. So, there you go, sweetie. There's some sweetness for my sweetie for Valentine's Day. He looks like he's still enjoying it. And I'm real happy with it. So, thank you very much. Let me tell you again the website, and like I said, I will post the recipe. But Modern Minimalism, I appreciate the recipe. Modern Minimalism, it's a mouthful. Modernminimalism.com, and it's delicious. I'm real happy with it. I do not miss the sugar at all. I think the sweetness of those ripe bananas really is just about perfect. I don't know that I'll ever put sugar in my banana bread again. So, all right, guys, there you have it. That's it for today. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Remember, Christ is the unseen guest at every dinner table, and he is the silent listener to every conversation. So make sure your words are edifying and joyful, and that you're loving on people, because that's what we're called to do. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Say bye, Bella.